Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be watching back through the recorded time-lapse of a drawing I did of Aira from the series Dandadan, and I'm going to be talking about what the whole process was like and how I approached it. So let's go. So here you can see I started with a sort of line of action and kind of rough shapes for the pose that she's going to be in. It looks like I had an idea of her sort of a cute sitting pose in the air. I don't really know how to describe it. Sort of sitting on an invisible swing, I guess. And so this isn't just normal Aira, this is Aira sort of mid-transformation into her acrobatic, silky form. So I don't actually watch back through my drawing time lapses. This is my fresh reaction to this recording since drawing this. But I do remember struggling with the shape of her facial armor, I suppose. The structure of it was one that I remember playing around with a lot. As you can see, there's a lot of adjustments going on. So I've drawn her with her finger kind of resting on her lip in a cute way. I'm pretty sure I adjust that a lot later, but that was the idea. Right now, figuring out how her blazer and her shirt kind of are resting, and also how her bow is resting on top of those. It's all like there's a lot of details going on in a small area in the drawing, which I always find a bit tricky to figure out, because you want all those details to be there, but you don't want it to you don't want it to just look like a mess of lines, you know, sitting in the, like, placed in the same area. You want it to look nice and tidy while also looking detailed. So as you can see, I pulled up a Sailor Moon reference. Coincidentally, in a very similar pose. I wasn't actually thinking of that Sailor Moon pose when you know, drawing this initially. This was just to pull up a reference for the skirt, which I needed some help with. But yeah, she ended up being in sort of a similar pose, which was convenient. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in that chest section of her, like with the hand and the bow and the blazer and the shirt. There's a lot of things to figure out there and how they're sort of layered on top of each other. Here I am figuring out how to draw the shoe. Shoes are very hard to draw. They're quite an annoying thing to figure out. God, I remember the whole process of this drawing was a long one. I remember like working on this drawing for a long time. Here I am adding some extra details to the shoes. What was also interesting was how the way the anime like adapted her character design was a little different from the manga. So there's a lot of little details that kind of vary. For example, like the side of her head, like the way those like strands all kind of like form that skull around her head, is drawn very, very differently in the manga to that compared to the anime. So it was sort of a process of choosing what I want to go for while also stylizing it in my own way. So here I am figuring out the hair shape. I remember I was quite settled on the hair shape early on in this drawing, but then I remember kind of changing my mind a lot on how I wanted to look. Like there, I just changed that top bit of the hair, its shape completely. I think I didn't like this giant clump the way I've drawn it, and I think this is sort of what I settled on with the hair shape. Adding some extra details to the hand, properly figuring out how I wanted to look. You know, the sort of PTSD of this drawing is coming back to me as I'm watching it. There was a lot of struggle with this one. took me a while to like how it looked. And here I am, just drawing all the little details on her clothes, like the stripes on her shirt or sweater that she's wearing underneath the blazer, which is also, I think, different from the manga, that sweater. Hair is something that I very much struggle with, like kind of how it sits, how it's shaped. I find it very tricky, so here I am trying to really figure out how am I gonna make this hair look good, because sometimes I find that I do a drawing but the hair just looks kind of clumsy, how I've shaped it. So I really wanted to properly figure out how is all this hair flowing, where is it coming from. So as you can see there, I was like layering, like drawing in all the layers and how each piece is resting against each other. So I guess I've settled on the sketch, so I'm actually going in and doing the line art now. So I chose a thick brush for the silhouette outline and a thinner brush for the inside, for all the little details. Something I learned from this drawing that I've taken with me going forwards is one way to really sell the hair of a character is to just add in some like loose strands here and there, like just kind of going off course of the hair's shape, like you might have drawn in like, you know, an overall hair shape for how you want it to sit, but just include some like strands that aren't following that same pattern here and there, and it'll give it a natural appealing look. So here I am going in, drawing all the little details with a thinner brush, so all the inside lines, choosing what specific lines to make on the hair without it looking too detailed but also not too stiff and boring. I still am not the greatest at drawing hair. It is very much a trial and error process, but I think I was happy with how I shaped it in this one. My brain finds it hard to like visualize how it's all kind of twisting around each other and sitting on top of each other. It's difficult to visualize for me. I'm not actually sure why I changed the background to grey hair when doing the line art. Maybe my eyes were just hurting or something. So here I am adding in some line weight across the whole drawing. So I'm drawing in the details of the skirt here, pulling up my references again for the skirt. I actually just remembered something terrible happened with this drawing. I don't know how, but what I ended up doing by accident was deleting the line art layer. So it was either the line art layer or the layer I did all the line weights on. But anyway, I ended up deleting an important layer, which really slowed down the overall process for the drawing because I had to redo the entire thing. So as you've already seen, I've added in some dark shadows here and there in small little areas. I guess now I'm figuring out the kind of colors that I want. Oh, here you can see I'm sort of just plotting out the colors on the top left to kind of see if it works as a color scheme before actually using them all in the drawing itself. I don't think I've really done that much, but I think that is quite useful. You can kind of see how all the colors harmonize together before actually committing them to the drawing. So I added in some airbrushing onto the skin, adding a bit of red or pinkish airbrushing onto skin definitely gives it a bit of life. So it's nice to do that sometimes. Giving her a bit of a blush. Maybe she's just seen Okuron mid-battle, apparently. Here I am figuring out the shading for the drawing. I quite like the shapes I went for with the little splodges of highlight. I think. But I'm definitely really particular about what shapes I want here. I think I'd scrapped my earlier attempts at figuring out the shading, and I'm trying to do it from scratch here. And I've added some colours onto the line art, and I think we're close to done. Ah, that's right. Initially, I wanted to include a yellow background, or some sort of yellowness behind her. I'm not sure what's going on here. Something's happening. Frustration is probably what's happening. I'm probably on the other side of the screen panicking about something. There was a lot of wrestling when it came to this drawing. When I got to the end of it, I just wasn't happy with it. I was like, I'm not feeling this drawing anymore. Initially I liked it, but now I'm like, I don't think I like it anymore. And I had a lot of that when it came to this drawing. It was a long process of like, did I just waste my time? Do I like this drawing anymore? Is it even appealing? I don't know what I think. And I think then there was a point where I started to look at the face, and I was like, I don't like the way I've drawn the face at all. But I wasn't sure what it was about the face that I didn't like. I was like, I don't like this and I don't know why. And I'm so far into the drawing now, what do? I don't know how to fix this. So I remember just adjusting it. So many... Oh my god, the flashing is crazy right now. Stop! I was like, maybe it's the lips, maybe it's the way I've positioned the hand. Just something about it did not look right. I'm adding in some extra shadows here and there into little areas across the whole drawing, it looks like. Oh, and I guess at this point I've sort of settled on it, but I know that this isn't what I settled on because I didn't want the... I changed my mind about the yellow box behind her towards the end. So, spoilers, this is not the end. Oh yeah, sort of like, should I give her a nostril for a little while? But I don't think I liked that. I think I got rid of it. And there it is, it's gone. Reshaping the face a little bit, reshaping the nose, changing the shapes of the lips. That was something I was struggling with. I was like, I want her mouth to be slightly, you know, opened. And I wasn't really happy with how it was looking. So I was fiddling around with it a lot. And yeah, I've gotten rid of the yellow background now. Because I stopped liking that. I adjusted the nose again. I'm bringing the yellow background back, like maybe I do like it. God. And there is the finished drawing. That is where I finally settled on it. And yeah, it turned out alright.